Hi, my name is Sheila Corona. Welcome to an edition of Conscious Conversation Central. And today I have a brand new friend joining me, Eric Roberts. And we met just recently at a holistic fair here locally. And I actually did talk about you in my reading this morning that we were going to be having a conversation. And I'm so grateful to have you. I'd like to say that today is Monday, April the 28th, 2025. I always like to put the date on my recording. So Eric comes to us from Sacred Forge Healing, and I really we spent just a few moments chatting a little bit before we started recording, but not a lot because I wanted to hear your story from you, and we'll just record it all at the same time. So, Eric, please tell me more about yourself and how you started doing what it is you're going to do for me today.
Well, hello. Thank you for having me today. So, I think my beginnings are a little interesting. So, I started working with energy when I was a kid. Um, if you've ever seen or heard of the show Avatar: The Last Airbender, that's funny enough how I kind of got my start. As a young child wanting to bend water and move it and flow it. Basically I ended up looking what energy work was and trying to do all that fun stuff. But in the process of going through and wishing and fantasizing about all that, I actually began my journey with energy through working with energy balls and shields and intention, and found out that's something I really, really enjoyed. Um, Going through all of that, I did grow up Baptist, and so it took a while for that to go full circle once I finally left my hometown. And so once I got into college, I did get introduced to a coven that was around my area, and so I learned more about tarot cards and stuff of that nature. So what I plan for to do for you today will be a mix of um, angelic cards. So I got introduced or got kind of smacked with the angels, is what I like to say, over in 2020 when everything, happened. So always really fun. They've been waiting on me after I had made this decision pre-life to work with them and be kind of a voice for them in this way. So yeah, I started doing readings and stuff back in 2015, and so it's been a steady progression to get up to this point. So today I'll be doing some angelic readings and probably incorporating some light language and some light channeling. Yeah, so I began my start with energy work, and since then I've done Reiki courses and different energy modalities. I even have my own energy modality, which is called Sacred Forge Healing, which is an incorporation of meditation, light language written through the energy system. But the whole modality is about clearing your energy body so it can hold more light and then fortifying it. So where my business title came from, Sacred Forge Healing, it actually comes from that, which is all about releasing what the body no longer serve or what no longer serves the body and the energy system to hold more light. And so it's been a very interesting journey going through that and elevation of that as well. So
If you don't mind my asking, I'd love for you to share because there was something you said there that really piqued my interest. You stated that they'd been waiting for you and that you had agreed to do this pre-birth. Can you expound on that just a little bit? Like, what how did it come about that you come came to know that?
going through with 2020, I was actually in a metaphysical shop with my mother. Now that is a whole different story in that, but I got introduced to Kyle Gray, who's the big angel or a big angel guy, talks a lot about the different angelic beings. He has affirmative prayer, which is kind of how I got introduced to it. But ever since I started that and started going through the process of reading and understanding, it's just angels kept popping up everywhere. So, for instance, once I had my Reiki certifications and all of that, I remember the day that I went to that to my first course, and like I just felt my crown was buzzing. It was like, oh, I'm where I need to be. And then after that, I actually did a modality called angelic Reiki, which is very, very different. So it really cemented more of my work with the angels and being kind of a you know a spokesperson, I guess, of sorts for them. So I had a lot of them coming in, and it just kept going once it started. And so I really do feel like, well, they're speaking now, but yes. So definitely came into this life to share their love and their messages. So.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for that. Hearing that from you, it may be one of the reasons, I was at the fair and I didn't invite everybody to come and have a conversation with me, but I was very drawn to you. And I have a feeling that it had to do with that specifically. I've been told, and by my own inner guidance, that
Mhm.
I carry the archangel Gabriel energy within me. And
Mhm.
that too has a lot to do with speaking about what it is we're moving through in these times. Part of the
Mhm.
reason why Conscious Conversation Central was actually born to begin with. So that's kind of interesting to find that we have these similarities. I kind of knew it when I saw you there, and so it's kind of interesting. Okay, and so you're going to do a reading for me today. You said, right?
Yes. So I do want to give you confirmation that that is very much true. Um, as soon as you mentioned that, I had the body chills, and I still have. They're speaking at the back right now. But yes, you're very much here to be sharing that message, whether it's through writing. I don't know if you've been doing any kind of like blog posting and things like that. Definitely feels like it's something that's right up your alley, especially with all the experiences that you've had. So the reading has started apparently. Um,
No, yeah, you're right. I can tell it has started. You're right.
um, so actually, as we were speaking earlier, I'm going to go ahead and just allow that those messages to come through. So this is a very interesting visualization that they want to give you with what you're doing. Think of a honeycomb, and all the messages that you get, those are like the mail slots. So for you, it's going to be picking which one you're going to, because you have the ability to connect with a lot of different information. So, but it's become very compartmentalized, and so in some ways that's really good, um, and in some ways it's not the best. So it's like there's give and take with both of those, but you have a lot of different avenues for where your information comes from, and so they really want you to enjoy that. Remember, if you take yourself back, you're actually able to see a lot more. But for you, it's more about dissecting and looking really, really closely at what you're doing, which that's how you learn really well. That's how you're able to expound on what you're doing because you are a person who does not like to just learn things on the surface. No, no, no. You want to dive deep. And so that can be very interesting for people around you because they're not always ready to go that deep. And so when you open your mouth and start speaking, they're like, wait, hold up. And so that's something that you do know about yourself, and it's not going to change. You don't want it to change. You enjoy it quite a lot. But they are mentioning that there are some people that are going to be coming in into your life in the pretty not distant future, but pretty soon, that are going to be able to kind of keep up with you in that way, where you can have more of these conscious conversations, being able to talk a lot about what you're learning and experiencing. Um, they're wanting you to kind of change your ideas in some ways about what you're doing. Um, so for sometimes you feel like you're rolling the dice more and just kind of like experiencing chance. Remember, you're not actually experiencing chance. You're part of that creation, right? If you're trying to roll a six, you decide to roll a six, and there it is. All right. Remember, you have that ability to just connect in with all this information and with the energy that's around you. Now, I do find it very fun that you're wearing that color here today because that's more the color of your energy, right? You have this energy of boundless freedom. That is what you wish to experience and to also impart on people, right? And so when people kind of come into your corner, and this is, I'm imagining why you have this channel, is because A, this is bringing you freedom, and you're also wanting to bring freedom to those who you interact with and who get to see these messages. So every time you're actually working with these, these videos and everything, your energy is encompassing that. And so you are bringing forth a healing energy of that freedom for people. Now, whether these people are realizing it or not may be a different story, but you're able to open up their wisdom and their ability to understand more about themselves, which is very, very important. So, whew, that was a very strong free flow, but you have a lot of things that are kind of putting in place right now. So really enjoy where that information is coming from and know that just behind it, there's even more, right? Through the honeycomb, there's the honey that exists there too. So it's something that is feeding you, is for sure. Okay. Did that all
All
make
right.
sense?
Oh, yes, it does. And it actually goes quite a long way toward some of the things that I've been contemplating of late. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've been doing any kind of like blogging and things, but I guess vlogging in this case is also good, but the blog seems to be something that actually feeds your soul quite a bit because there's something cathartic for you to just sit there and start writing or typing, and it allows you to get your thoughts out much clearer. So whether you do that prior to doing your video or, after, or just doing it by itself as its own modality of sorts, right? When you're doing that, that energy is flowing through you, through your hands, and going down into where you're doing it. So it becomes like an energetic imprint of what you're trying to get across. Now, this becomes a very interesting process for you as you get to see deeper through the lines, right? So, whenever or if you are writing things down like that, you can see what's on the surface, but it goes deeper and deeper as you're looking at it. So, for instance, if you wrote something years ago and you go back and look at it, you're like, "Holy crap!" Right? This came through me, and this is what I'm going through right now. This is amazing, right? So they really want you to be paying attention to all those things that you've been doing because you've been building this up, whether you knew it or not, for a really long time. And so all these messages that have come through you are actually they weren't for you at that time, but now that you look back, it's like, oh my God, I went through all of these things without realizing it. Or these messages are so incredibly pertinent for what I have going on in my life right now. Remember that you too are the channel. You are a way to bring that information through. And so whether it's through talking or writing or using cards, they are all a medium for which we do this, but we are the tool that brings everything in. These cards, I have all these lovely things here. I'm kind of a deck collector at this point. Um,
Dude.
yeah, I got like 70 decks. It's ridiculous, and I only use four of them.
No,
Well, I
I feel
use
you on that.
them.
I got the same thing going on.
So just remember that for all of you guys who are listening, like, yes, the cards are great and they are a tool. It's how you use them and how you deliver those messages through for you. And so you've actually been having a whole like reawakening in a lot of ways towards that because as readers we can feel really hard, or it can be very difficult for us to read for ourselves, and that's something that you specifically have worked on for yourself, and it's changed a lot. They're saying a lot, specifically in the past 2 months, where everything had gotten much clearer for when you're trying to look at yourself. And it's like the blinders have kind of been taken off. So you're seeing a lot more about who you are, your being, and all the lessons that you've learned in this life. They're saying at this point, you've done you've done most of our karma things at this point. And so right now you're starting to lighten up even more and more to the point where you're just getting to decide your direction. Right. There are some things that, we kind of pre-plan before life that, "Oh, I'm going to do this." Remember that we always have free will to be able to change it, of course. Um, but yeah, you're getting to the point where it's like, what do I want to do next? What's gonna be fun? And that's been the best and most cathartic thing for you, is because it's like, what would be fun right now? And that's how things have shifted for you in the past. And it hasn't been that long, actually, it feels like for you that you got to that point, but now you're really, really embracing it and enjoying your life quite a bit more. So congratulations.
Thank
You're
you.
you're definitely on the right space for this. But yeah, they want you to enjoy writing more for sure. They're like, please. There's even like the thing of like with the mailbox with the what is it, the honeycomb, of like sending letters out. I don't know if you like to do that or like send messages out to people, maybe having like a newsletter with what you're currently doing on like your weekly musings would be something that you could embrace a little bit more and say, these talk about your experiences and what you've learned this week and then not having it just be a video, right? Videos are great and they do have their purpose, but for you, that writing is bringing that energy through. And so it's going to be able to enliven the people who do get to read it. So if you don't have like a newsletter or something like that that you're already doing, now's the time to start, is what it feels like.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah, no, and it's kind of interesting the way that it's coming forward because I have not been writing. I've known for quite some time that should, I'm going to use the word should, and
Right.
that I am supposed to, and apparently on some level have agreed to. And I mean, I am aware that and I said this the other day actually in in a reading that is not on the channel, but I did record that everybody has at least one book in them, and
Mhm.
I know that I am supposed to share my story. It's always been. I just always felt like it was easier to do it on the videos, but I do also know, and now your words actually are helping me see that the clarity that can come from the actual writing of that I pretty much would not have agreed with that in the past, but there has been a shift within me in the last 2 months, and I can see now where that actually is a true statement, and that
Mm.
it's like it's done something for me already. So thank you for that. I appreciate
Yeah.
that very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. You do have quite a bit to share. And so they're definitely wanting you to be speaking from your heart. So your whole path, and I believe the path of most at this point, and I would hope, is about that authentic self coming through. And so part of your authenticity is through that writing because it allows you to show yourself in a different way, right? You've gone through life up until this point just doing certain things, right? But when we do something new, it brings a new perspective, allows us to see something in a little different, like different way. It's going to allow you to move forward quite a bit faster. But um they're also mentioning not to get too caught up in like, oh, I have to write this thing, they're wanting you to be playful with it and just see what comes, right? When you don't have those expectations, it makes it a lot easier for it to free flow and really come through. I find that when we go through it and we feel like we have to be all serious and whatnot, it kind of blocks the flow. And right, our lives are the flow. As we step into it, we have those synchronistic events. We have like the angel numbers or just random things happen. It's like, yes, I'm always in the right place. And you have been embracing that quite a bit more, is what they're saying. So kudos. You're doing really well with what you're doing.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
Yeah. Do you have any specific questions that you want to go into? I know we haven't even pulled cards, but it's just, you
Uh,
know.
well, no, I'm grateful actually for all of it. Well, I guess I really don't have anything specific other than, I feel as though I have been moving through some different health challenges of late. And
Mm.
so if there's any guidance in regards to what, do they have any recommendations? What can they offer on that score?
Okay, so always the good thing to remember that when doing these readings, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a financial counselor, I'm not a therapist. Um, so I know you're going to see the doctor. I know that because you mentioned going to the doctor recently. Um, so I think that was with somebody. Um, there feels, I'm gonna kind of just say it. They're wanting you, is it to avoid? No, it's to embrace a little bit of spicy food, whether it's like turmeric, peppers. a little bit of that will get you in a better space. I don't know exactly what you're going through, but that is what's coming through. They're wanting you to embrace a little bit of spice to get your blood flowing, I think is what they're talking about.
Right.
So whether you've been having like
That's actually
constricted blood
exactly
flow.
what, yeah, that's exactly what it is, actually. So that makes a
Okay.
lot of sense.
So like the turmeric and a little bit of like peppers are going to get the blood flowing a little bit more, is what they're saying. Um, so that and just some like gentle movements. But that's an Eric suggestion at the last point. But they're wanting you to enjoy a little bit more of that spice to get the blood flowing.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you for that.
Yeah. Again, not a doctor. But
No,
so
I
take it.
totally get that. And I always say that too. In no way is any of this, don't do what I do. I always like to say that too, because, mileage absolutely will vary for each being, always, always.
Right. All right. So we'll pull a card here to see, um, kind of to see about rounding out the reading a little bit. I know this is kind of our first card, technically, but I do believe a lot of good information has come through for you. So,
Yes.
what does Sheila need to know as she's rounding this out? And yes. So we have some really good messages here. So this is a deck that I know you have too. I think I've seen you use it. This is one of my
Yes.
favorite decks to use. I use it in all of my readings, or almost all my readings. So we have a few good cards here. So all of them are good, but surrender to setting limits. Right. So it is healthy to set boundaries in relationships, practice expressing your needs, and remember that no is a complete sentence.
Okay. So
Right.
I happen
So
to know for a fact that you did not see my live stream that I had. I know that for a fact because you were in book club. But I want you to know that that card came out in my reading today. That
oh,
was the surrender card for today. So that's a double message to myself.
right. So this feels specifically, is it? It feels specifically for the friendships that you have, and specifically for those that are kind of draining you, right? You have been aware of these things for a long time, but it's become difficult to kind of let go because you feel like you're so entrenched. Um, and so this feels like a relationship where it is, all give and no take, right? So it's not a reciprocal relationship for you. And so you have to be very aware of saying, I can't be the one who's always giving, right? And I understand as kind of being an empath and all of these the fun words we like to ascribe ourselves or titles we want to give. Um, where we want to give and not always take, but that is one of the lessons that you're learning how to do, is to be open to receiving, right? As a healer and all of these things that we again like to call ourselves, um it can be, we don't want to give or we don't want to take, like we just want to just give, but remember that's just not feasible. So I'm going to pull one more card specifically about this relationship that you're kind of going with, just to see kind of the underlying things. Okay. So we have, God, what Radley Valentine's Angels Hero deck is our second deck that we're using. So we have the Four of Air. It says time to rest or take a vacation. Allow more time before making a decision. Meditation may provide answers. So it really just feels like there's a big step away, and it doesn't have to be for forever, but there needs to be time for you to rest and recuperate and do what you need to do, which you're very, very aware of. You're just having kind of a hard time putting it into place. So, um, what you can do is I don't recommend this often, but just kind of making an excuse like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I'm doing this right now, or you know, because it feels like this person, the way that they come about is it's not always a physical presence that they need, but they call you so often because they need to talk about this or that. Oh my God, did you hear this? It's like it goes into gossip and stuff. Just turn your phone on silent and say, I don't need to pick up every time, right? It's not what she's doing does not, because it does feel female. What she's doing, I don't have to deal with it all the time. I don't have to take any of that on because it's been laying on your heart specifically as of late. And so it's making it harder and harder for you to bring forth the light that you're trying to be in the world. So definitely there's a big need to take a step back with and set those limits as you need them. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, it does.
Okay. So we have some more beautiful cards. I'm guessing this one probably didn't show up in your reading, but who knows? So surrender, you need to always be right.
Not today, but it did a couple of days ago. So yes.
Okay, give others the gift of letting them be right. Be yielding, not rigid. This will help resolve conflicts and improve relationships. So, but yes, there's certainly that, and not getting into like the egotistical, like I'm always right. No, but there just seems to be kind of a reclamation of power in some ways with you setting those limits. So it's vitally important because it's also affecting your health, whether you know it or not. And it's making things very constricted. So it makes complete and total sense that the blood flow is not as strong as it could be,
Right.
right? Everything is like squeezing in. So, you can't allow them to be right. There's a saying I've heard recently. It's like, do you want to be right or be happy? So,
Yeah,
like,
well, that
is
was a
it
big issue for me for quite some time. I mean, and I used to say, people don't like you when you're right all the time because, and trust me, I thought I was right all the time. And what I've discovered is that I can be right about something for myself and wrong about it for anybody else. And that's where I didn't have that on board before.
yeah.
It's
Well,
okay to be right about something that applies to me and only me. That kind of goes hand in hand with the setting of the limits
absolutely.
for me. But I had to realize that just because it's right for me does not mean it's right for somebody else. I have that was very hard for me to come to the knowledge of the truth of that. But
Absolutely.
yeah.
Right. Whenever we're going into that space, it's always a process of self-reflection and understanding. Um, but it does seem to be, well, they're definitely kind of going on the right path. There's still expressions that need to be said or like done, or like some feelings that need to be aired a little bit to embrace more of your full being, because right now they're kind of just sitting right here. So I don't know if you've been having any kind of throat issues or something like that, but it's like right here is the space, like right where the
Right where my
collarbone
appetite
is.
is, my blue appetite. Yeah, no, there's no accident there either, is there?
Right. Oh, it's actually a little bit above where that appetite is. It's like
Oh,
at the
okay.
top of it. Yeah, right there. So there's just needing to get some things off your chest is going to be big over the next few weeks. Remember, as you're doing it, like set limits with yourself not to kind of demolish people, because you have a way of being very abrasive, is what it feels like. So it's like you can speak your truth and it goes right off and it can harm. So be aware of that. Um,
Yes.
but there's definitely a balancing act here. So I'm gonna pull. See now. Okay, do you have any question about either of these cards first?
No, I really, I understand exactly why they came out.
Okay. And so the last one we have is surrender to the magic of who you are. Says we all have magic in us, even in the mundane aspects of life. Remember that you are a magical being with a uniqueness and worth that comes from being you. So again, we have that authenticity coming up. But there also feels like, with you, you do this as well, right? You do live streams almost every day. And that is really, really important part of your path for sure. But they're also wanting you to incorporate a little bit more magical things into your life, whether it's like stirring in good intentions to your coffee or tea, like putting that magic of who you are into what you do, right? There seems to still be kind of a disconnect between like your daily living and what you love. So the more that you can kind of break that boundary and like set that up for yourself to explore more of your magic, it's going to get better and better for you.
Okay.
Does that make
Oh,
sense?
yes, it does actually, because that's something that through some reflection just recently, I saw that I was not doing that.
All
So
right.
I'm not surprised to see that come through at all either.
Well, it's all with the thing of this, like with any person who's like doing this work, it's like, are you walking your talk? Are you using the tools that you have learned for yourself and not just others?
Right.
Right. And so that's been like a lesson as I've been going through this whole journey myself is like, are you using what you've learned for yourself too? Right. Because as a Reiki practitioner or energy healer, are you doing that for yourself to keep yourself balanced? Are you learning something new to be able to understand more about your perspective or how the world works? Right. It's always about that improvement and understanding yourself as you grow to be able to hold the space for the people,
Right.
right? Hold space for yourself, of course, and then be able to hold that for those who come to you. I find that really, really important.
Okay. Well, thank you for
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Well, so I really appreciate your, doing this for me and, coming and having this conversation with me.
Absolutely. It's
And
been quite fun.
and I look forward to doing more of this with you if you're open to that.
Of course. I'm currently exploring channeling, as I told you a little bit earlier, and I have
Right.
messages that need to come out. So I'm very much looking towards exploring that avenue as well.
Okay, that's awesome. So yeah, let's do that again. And for anyone who is interested in contacting you, they can go to sacredforgehealing.com and they'll find your email address there. The
Absolutely.
sacredforgehealing at gmail.com is your email address. And you also do, I because I see the sound bowl behind you, also do energy healing work here locally as well, is that correct?
That is true. So I'm based out of Pineville, North Carolina, and then I also work in Charlotte as well. I set up at the Bag Lady to do readings up in Charlotte on Wednesdays, and so I do quite a lot. I do Reiki. Most of you have heard of that, Universal Life Force Energy. I do Seraphim Blueprint, which is an angelic modality, which has a lot of different energies that go with that, but it is a harmonizer and a healer, kind of like psychic surgery. And if you ever want to explore past life regression, so I do Dolores Cannon's method, QHHT, which is a 4 to 6 hour long session. That is the only service that I offer that has to be in person. But I'm based out of Charlotte or Pineville for that as well, where we bring in the higher self to answer questions and do healing, and then also explore the past life that your higher self basically brings up for you to understand how that ties into your life currently.
Okay.
So
All
I
right.
do a lot. So
You sure do. And all of that can be found at your website, sacredforgehealing.com.
absolutely. And I
Okay.
also post weekly readings at Sacred Forge Healing on YouTube.
Okay, awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much for, coming and chatting with me and doing this reading. And
Yeah, of
I
course.
really do look forward to our, to future conversations where we can go further in depth with what it is that you're going to be bringing through. I love that
Absolutely.
idea. Okay.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been quite a fun time.
Okay, well, I look forward to it. So until we meet again, I want to ask everyone to move towards that which brings you the highest joy in each moment that presents itself to you. Because truthfully, I feel like that is what our purpose is here, and it will be revealed to you through that. And so until we meet again, mwah, be well, everyone.
Bye, guys.